Good morning, everybody. Ryan Carpenter here with No BS Golf, presented by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. How you all been? It's been a few days here. Went on a little vacation, so a little time off. Good to get ready for the spring. A little recoup and kind of get going. And back in town, ready to get back in action. Super excited for this week. Got two new students coming in here in the next few days, and it's always fun getting that new blood in it going, because you get to working with your students, and some of them you have 15, 20 years, and you kind of get settled in with that, and you know what they're good at, what they're bad at, where you've come, and lessons kind of almost become a little more conversation than they do so much the lesson itself. Usually it's tweaking at that point. It's kind of saying, hey, you remember this thing? And yeah, so it's a little bit of that, try that a little more, and here we go. Okay, good. Look at that. Now I want you to go do this specific set of drills and these specific set of functions, and measure it out and see where the measurements come in, and then that's percentages and all the kind of stuff we get to eventually. So, but the new students are fun because you get a fresh palette now. You get this whole new clean slate to work with. You get to see what they got and learn everything about them. Like, that's the most important and fun part. I want to know what's good, what's bad, what hurts, what's holding you back, where do you want to be someday, the story, the conversation you hold with those players in that first 30 minutes is everything, because the entire plan, everything about the future, you name it, everything they want to know is determined based off that conversation. And then, looking at what's going on and breaking it down a little more, and then talking about the golf swing and talking about the facts and the data, and I've got a custom stat sheet, start to introduce that, start to bring that into play. And so all that information is so crucial. So getting that fresh start with somebody is a lot of fun, because I know from my side of the coin, I know what their future could be. And it's simply trying to give them a way of saying, well, here's what's going on, and here's all the things we're going to have to do if we're going to get you there. So the only real question becomes, are you going to sign up? Are you going to do this, right? Are you going to commit? Are you going to put in the time? Are you going to go through the process that I know will work? And if so, then this is the starting point. Like, this is the day your golf life changes for sure. I know that for a fact. I've done it hundreds of times with all kinds of different players, young, old, tall, skinny, fat, short, every variation that exists under the sun. I've seen it all. But when a player commits to the process and is ready to go forward and seek this dream, whatever it might be, I want to beat my buddies every weekend. I want to win the club championship. I got this tournament on the coast every August. Whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. That's exciting. So I am super pumped to see these new students and get down and get started with this process and get them going. So I did post something up there on the old, Twitterverse. And just another example just kind of popped in my head. It's, I asked the question, how many golf instructors are in your lesson? Kind of a weird question, right? And it is, because not a lot of y'all understand or necessarily realize, but any great instructor, especially one that's been going for a long time, is bringing multiples. And I'm talking sometimes a few hundred. Because over the course of time, 25 years for me, whether it be the readings and the learnings from the books and all that kind of stuff, but more importantly, the amount of time that I've spent not teaching students, but either observing or simply learning directly from, by being in a bay or on a lesson tee with other great instructors, and taking that time to say, I know that person's better than me. I'm going to try to learn everything I possibly can from them, and then I'm going to figure out how am I going to implement that into what I do. And I will say this, it was one of the great things about Golf Tech. Not everything's great about Golf Tech, but it was one of the great things. When you're first in there and getting going, one of the first things that they have you do is you kind of shadow some of the real elite guys that are already super experienced and well developed in their lesson books, and teaching the 9-10 lessons a day type fellas like I was. And when you go through that process, you get to the end of the day or every break session, you get to start asking questions like, "Oh man, you said this, and I never thought about that. Why'd you do that with that person?" And they start to, and you start to soak in so much information in such a short period of time, and to them, it's just seeing it from this end now, and I did it too once I kind of got up and got one to the point where I was, pretty busy at Golf Tech and all the new fellas coming in and new ladies coming in the building all the time and going through and, what becomes so natural, so automatic on this end is so much new and they're trying to figure out in their own brains as instructors, like all this information, whereas it's just like, if I see that, that's what I talk about. I mean, that's exactly where I go. And so when a good instructor walks into a lesson bay or on the range or wherever it might be, you don't realize it. But at the really, really good ones especially, they got a whole crew. I mean, it could be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 instructors walking into that lesson with them. It's just you don't see that, and you don't see them for obvious reasons. But I always used to say, after I got done in KC and moved on, and I had all kinds of students that really didn't know where to go or what to do or if they wanted to keep going and all kinds of different things. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But one of the things I used to tell them, like, look, it's kind of like what think about it. When you go and look at a new car or a new job or whatever, new house, you're going to take what you know and pretty much apply it, right? And say, well, do you do this though? And is this really like this is what I like? So do you do this? And I always just tell them, like, one of the main questions would be, well, how many instructors are you bringing into this lesson? I'll be honest. I don't know that many people can actually answer that question all that well. And because, the sad part about instruction today, if my opinion anyways, is that there's a lot of people out there that haven't learned really much. I mean, they might have read a few books and whatnot, and, they got that little, whatever, a couple of levels of learning and the PGA thing, and, and it's pretty, it's outdated. It's not great. So when you have the ability to walk in a bay and know from experience and years of doing that you can draw upon 20, 30, 40 other great instructors. I mean, I don't know how many total I got. It's too many at this point. But I can at least name, two hands for sure, 10 great, elite, upper tier, nobody's better than these types that are coming into the bay and lesson with me every single day. And that was, probably the fortunate aspect of doing what I did. So a little bit of luck there, but got to spend time, with these individuals. Like, and that's one of those things. Not everybody gets that opportunity, unfortunately, if you're trying to go through this whole business of teaching golf. So anyhow, it's just kind of one of those fun questions because a lot of people start to go, I don't understand. What do you mean? I don't see nobody with you. Where are they at? They're not here. No, but they're up here. And, why we do this is being able to immediately take situation with a player and say, I know what's going on here. I'm going to remember what Tom told me 12 years ago at the, Golf Tech up in Des Plaines in Chicago. He said, hey, look, you can't, this isn't going to work because if the player's doing that, then this won't do that. And you can tell them 20 times, do this, and it ain't going to happen. And so those learning experiences and being able to bring Tom and Andy and anyways, all these different people I talk about eventually. I'll probably cover someday all of my mentors and who all and what all and where they are and what they're doing, and I can bring that into the mix at some point. Not important this morning. They're with me every day. It is probably one of the most important things, hands down, that I carry into the bay with me every day. And I'm going to be doing it this weekend. Saturday morning got a early morning evaluation. Monday morning got an early morning evaluation. Man, I can't wait to get these two fellas started. And I've learned a little bit about what they're wanting to do, but I want to learn more. I want to figure out what's going on. We're going to break it down. And that's the most important thing about this process here, folks. That first 30 minutes of conversation followed by 30 minutes of getting started. Without that critical time, I can pretty much tell you this much right now. You've got to have that, because without that, you're most likely wasting time out there. You've got to get to a point where you understand what's actually happening. How does it relate to what's going on? More importantly, how does it relate to you and what you want to be able to do in the future? And we got to connect those dots, build a plan, talk about the time frames, all the things necessary, and then that gives us the blueprint. How do we get there? Or the blueprint for success. And so, most importantly, come sign up. I'm going to bring all these golf instructors with me. You ain't going to see them. But they'll be right there with me. And they're going to be ready to help me with the evaluation lesson for you as well. So, all right, normal. Got to get going. Busy morning. So, first, basically here, help me out. Smash the like button. Hit that share button, of course, with all your friends out there, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And subscribe. That way you know when I put the stuff up, right? But definitely, help me with all that aspect. I really appreciate that. As always, if you have questions, comments below. I'll look for those, respond, of course. Or hit me up on the old Twitterverse, at P45KDG over on Twitter. And then Gmail, with the email, you can hit me at P45knuckledowngolf at gmail.com. But any questions you want or anything you want me to talk about, all you got to do is let me know. I'll throw it up there anytime you want, folks. But next time you go into a lesson, ask your instructor this. How many instructors are there with you? And if they don't answer it, I hate to tell you, folks, that's BS. Got to be able to answer that question. So, anyways, hope everybody enjoyed that. If you have questions, let me know. We'll see you later. Thanks again, Ryan Carpenter, No BS Golf.